this again. What's up? What is this? Compound Coalition? Compound Coalition podcast with Sonny Puzikas. All right. Some people know who you are. Some people know probably way too much about you. You're like, how the fuck do you even know that? But some people don't. So tell people what it is that you currently do.
Well,
what are you famous for?
I'm a straight white male.
Yep.
Fundamentalist Christian. You can say I'm like ISIS of Christianity. Russian Orthodox. We invade countries over that shit, you know.
I actually have been to a Russian Orthodox church several times.
They're nice.
Yeah.
They're nice. You don't get to sit there, but that's...
A lot of standing. Yeah. A lot of... Sit down. Stand up. Sit up.
That's one thing. Married, 3 kids. Live on the farm in the middle of nowhere in Texas. What I do for a living and for pleasure, both. It's kind of, you know, I've been blessed with that. Is I try to guide people, I guess, in the right direction on how to deal with violence.
And how to bring violence if necessary?
If necessary, yeah, but contrary to widespread belief that I'm this aggressive person that's going to ram your gates if they are locked and I'm going to initiate the fight if you look at me the wrong way, no, I'm actually probably more likely to step away from it.
Has it always been that way?
No.
It's
evolution. It's age. I'm not going to use the word because it's kind of pretentious, wisdom, but experience comes with age.
Maturity.
You know? Maturity comes with age. You can't deny that. Any of you young fucks out there, if you think that you know it all at the age of 20 or 30, I have news for you. You will learn.
Did you think that when you were 20, did you think you would live to be 30?
When I was 20, no.
I think a lot of people... Like, I don't know if I thought that, but I mean, you hear that, right? Like, why did you do all this dumb shit? And you hear people like, well, I didn't think I would live to be 30.
No, man. I mean, you know, this is, some people know a lot about me, but they don't know about my life back in the old Soviet Union. You know, we were fucking insane, man. In Russia, there's a term called atmorozki, the frozen ones. That's what they call the young kids that try to gain the street cred by doing crazier shit than organized crime old guys were doing in their youth. You know what I mean?
And the organized crime guys kind of lived by rules and laws, whereas the kids...
for us, rules and laws are limiting my innovation of chaos. You know what I mean? Fuck that. So, you know, we were too young and too poor to afford guns, so how can you fuck with the guys, you know, and to get their attention? So one of my friends, his father was a mechanic for a rally team. So he had these souped up fucking Russian cars like Volga 21 and fucking, you know, Zhigulis and all that stuff, but they were all souped up and all that. So at midnight he would sneak out without permission, obviously, take one of his father's cars and we would drive by the little nightclubs and restaurants where mob guys were hanging out and with the slingshots would fucking shoot out their windows on their BMWs. And they would chase us with fucking AKs. And we thought it was fun, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was fucking awesome. And looking back now, I go like, fuck.
Yeah, they were trying to kill you.
Why am I still alive?
Right.
You know? But then we weren't thinking that way. It was just, you know, it's crazy living to the fullest. La vida fucking loca, you know? And I don't know. It was a lot of young kids doing that shit. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't something that, at least in that environment at that time, it was out of norm. You know what I mean? It was almost accepted that you have to go through that crazy stage, and if you live through it, you're probably going to wise up, learn, and meet those older guys that been through that stage. They're going to beat the shit out of you and teach you some lessons and then instill some wisdom in you, and then maybe you can become productive criminal, you know?
So did that eventually happen? Did they eventually recruit you or bring you in, or did they want to kill you? Or?
Yeah, it was both, because some of the kids that I was going to school with and lived in the same neighborhood, their older brothers were kind of high up in the hierarchy, so to speak. And we used to do, you know, martial arts training and neighborhood against neighborhood fights with fucking nunchucks and brass knuckles and knives and, you know, all kinds of shit like that. And, you know, they were kind of watching the kids and who has the, you know, not per se the cojones, but the will to go on and kind of be, not per se ruthless, but determined in what you do. You know, so they were doing grooming.
What kind of martial arts is predominantly in Russia?
Dude, it's such a huge variety. As I started with Kyokushin Kairi, which is Masoyama style, is the guy who allegedly, was knocking off the fucking horns of the bulls with his fists and all that stuff, and it's full contact thing. And so I participated in tournaments. I actually earned legit black belt in it, and I got disqualified for excessive brutality in most tournaments, but I won a couple. Uh, then I met some students that were in Soviet Union, and they were from Vietnam and Laos and countries like that, and they brought in their native arts of Krabi Krabong and other stuff. Through that, I found like Indonesian silat and other things, and then there was always very strong boxing and wrestling
So
presence.
during the time of the USSR, or that time frame, I didn't. I guess I never thought about it, but there was people from Vietnam that were
Oh yeah,
there.
exchange
So there was
students.
other people coming into Russia in those times.
A lot of people, a lot of like some guys from like African countries, from like Angola and Mozambique.
Really?
They were bringing their stick fighting.
So all we knew is, what the government school systems told us of Russia, right? We knew Russia because of, Rocky Balboa fought the
Of
fighter,
course,
and
right,
that's what
right,
we
right,
knew.
right. And we're all starving and we're uneducated motherfuckers riding on top of bears and shit like that, right? No, man.
I don't know. The bear thing looks pretty good to me. I mean,
I wouldn't mind that actually, but if you see grizzly near, close by, you kind of change your mind quickly. Fuck that. That's why we carry big guns. But no, man, it's yeah, we weren't as provided and as as spoiled with luxuries and softness of life and all that stuff, but we were not per se fucking starving or being sent to gulags for having a cross on your neck or saying, fuck communism. You would get slapped by somebody maybe if they heard you, and some of my neighbors were active KGB agents. I can tell you that on Sunday we would go to Roman Catholic Church. My mother, who was a member of a Communist Party, she would be on her knees there saying a prayer on Sunday Mass next to an active KGB agent.
really.
Yeah. No one was sent to Siberia for that shit. You know what I mean? That stuff stopped in the fucking 50s.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So did you end up in the military, or how did you,
Yeah,
what happened after
because of my turbulent tendencies, I guess, in my young years, I kind of had I graduated the high school and I enrolled in university. I had no fucking desire, but my parents wanted me to get, higher education, to have future and all that stuff. I think it was civil engineering or something like that. I had no fucking desire to engineer buildings or run the crews on the construction sites or whatnot. I was chasing ass. I was looking for fights. I was looking for ways to make money, whether it's stealing cars or reselling shit or whatnot. And I got caught enough times to where I kind of was given choice, military or government housing. So I chose military, and uh, I went in, and then there they have this interesting program in Soviet Union, which was called DOSAF, which is volunteer organization to support Army, Navy, and Air Force, and it's kind of like you enroll in it in the early days of school, early years of school, and then you do kind of like we call it прикладные искусства, which is like supplemental skills. So you do orienteering, you do cross country skiing, you do the long distance running where you have to get 7 points with your compass and and all that stuff, and then you do biathlon on skis where you're shooting targets while on the skis and all that stuff. And little did I know, records of how you perform are kept and organized and provided into military. Including if you're involved in like extracurricular martial arts activities and all that stuff. So when you get to basic training, they already have pre-selected pool based on the kids' history, how they performed in that they may offer them a chance to try out for more specialized roles within military. And unfortunately, I found myself in that pool, and I got offered Of course, I was all about it because I'm like, these are the guys that wearing cool camouflage uniforms. They have the cool short barrel suppressed weapons. You know what I mean? They tough looking guys. They're muscular. No one yells at them if they have tattoos. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
their interaction with officers is very different. There's no that stupid formality. They don't do stupid 3 hours marching training in the plaza. They fucking in the gym doing hand-to-hand. Of course I want to do that. Stupid me, I don't realize that these guys also go to wars where you get shot at. You know.
So how long were you in before they sent you to
I was still in training. I was still in training when we deployed on the first mission.
and got shot at?
Yeah. And I actually got hit.
You got shot?
Yeah, I got hit in the vest and it broke 3 of my ribs.
First time out?
First time out.
Where was that?
It was in Abkhazia, current day. Well, it's territory now that's occupied by Russia that's supposed to be part of the Republic of Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in the city of Sukhumi, and there were things happening there, and so yeah. And so I have not yet earned my beret or whatnot, and I was still in training, so to speak, apprentice, and got involved in the first gunfights and saw things and saw people die and all that, and it changes you.
Is it true that Russia, on a training exercise, Russian military has a 10% allowance for casualty?
No.
That's bullshit?
That's bullshit.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, that's absolute street legend, and it's zero credibility. Training is rougher and less regimented, but it's nowhere near the case where people claim that Russians don't care about their people. They invest a lot of people in training operators, a lot of money, a lot of hours, a lot of effort. They do value them. I mean, when you go to war, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? But in training, they take a lot of precautions. They take a lot of measures. Maybe not as fascist and draconian as you find in Western militaries. You know what I mean? Where it's very absolutist. There's more like a graded absolutism. You know what I mean? Like, well, yeah, this has certain level of fucking risks, but it's worth it for us to get him to a certain level of performance. Mm-hmm. And so I would say, having spent a number of years here in the States now and done, quite a bit of training for U.S. military and some other Western militaries, like Finland or other places, I would say the percentage of training casualties, it's probably very similar.
Okay.
It's probably very similar.
So how long did you do that for?
Well, the training usually lasts about 6 months.
Uh-huh.
I also want you to realize there's a difference. We don't have a weekend when we go home.
Understood.
To spend with a girlfriend or whatnot. It's 24/7, 365.
For 6 months?
Throughout your service.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Once you become non-commissioned officer or an officer, then you can have the housing and all that stuff. But as an enlisted soldier, you don't get that. Sometimes after injury in combat or whatnot, they may give you a week and send you home to spend with your family.
How long do you enlist for? Or is that...
It's not enlistment, it's recruit. Well, basically, it's mandatory service, right?
Okay.
So in the Army, it's 2 years. Army and the Air Force is 2 years. In the Navy, it's 3 years.
Okay.
And you can elect to stay extra as an NCO, and then you can elect if you qualify to go to officer school and all that stuff, but everyone serves 2 years.
Got it.
But it's 2 years of 365 a year.
When you go in, do you kind of get a choice, like you want to be Spetsnaz or you want to...
No.
You don't get it. You're a tank guy. You're a rifle guy.
I had no idea where I'm going because I'm from Lithuania, so they collected us in my city in Kaunas. They put us on the fucking bus. We drove to Vilnius, where the airport is and all that stuff. They put us on the plane, and when I was on the plane, I find out that I'm landing in Tomsk, Siberia.
Oh shit!
I had no fucking idea where I'm going or whatnot. I'm like, where the fuck is Tomsk? I don't even know on the map. It's not such a big city.
So what was it?
So it's a fucking city in Siberia. And then I go like, okay, Tomsk, so it's a pretty big city now. As we landed at the airport, and they go like, no, you're not going to be in this Tomsk. There's another Tomsk that's not on the map. I'm like, wait, what? So they take us on the bus. We drive about another fucking 30 minutes to a city that's official designation is Tomsk 7. Unofficial name is Seversk, which is the northern. And it has 11 nuclear reactors working for military industry within that city. It's a production of nuclear warheads.
Okay.
So you arrive there and you see the the safety zones, the fencing that puts to shame any prison that you've ever seen and all that stuff with the guard towers with machine guns on it and all that. You go like, the fuck I'm at, right? So then when you get there, you get into your basic training and they explain to you, and with driving, this is the object number 25. It has 2 reactors. This is where the enrichment happens and all that stuff. It has 6 floors under that you may be allowed to go, and then there's another 4 floors that is special regime. Unless you're officer, you don't go those floors. So you start thinking, and this is not that many years after Chernobyl.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't give a fuck how good of a fighter I am. You do not block radiation with a kick. Do I want to stand next to that fucking reactor with my AK guarding the fucking radiation?
Is that what you were there for?
Well, that's what division was tasked, was force protection of that whole installation.
Okay.
But within the division, they had a specialized unit. And that specialized unit was their initial task prior to my arrival there was, if let's say Delta Boys landed and decided to blow up a reactor or whatnot, their job was to deal with them. But at that point in the late 80s, that's where the whole, slow and inevitable fall of Soviet Union started happening. So you started getting regional conflicts in all the stans next to Afghanistan border, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. Then you started having the ethnic cleansing and wars between Armenians and Azerbaijanis. Chechnya started brewing. Georgia started brewing. All these things started happening there between 88 into early 90s. And all of a sudden, because there was only a certain number of units within Ministry of Internal Affairs that were trained to do things like that and deal with insurgencies and low intensity conflicts and all that stuff, all of a sudden we started being shipped out to this part of the country, that part of the country. And then other things started happening across the border with Afghanistan, with weapons shipments coming into different groups within the Soviet Union territory. So then interception started happening of those shipments, and it just expanded. And, we weren't spending that much time in Siberia anymore. So it was an interesting time,
So when did you end up leaving the military or getting out of the military?
So I left military in 91 when Soviet Union fell apart.
Okay.
And it was an interesting time, man, because Lithuania was the first republic to break away from Soviet Union and declare independence. So I went to military when Lithuania was part of Soviet Union. And I come back to Lithuania as an independent country that's not part of the Soviet Union. I still have a Soviet passport. Lithuania by then has passed a law which they called illustration law, which stated that if you were employed or worked for enemy countries' special services, you cannot start your own business, you cannot get business loans, you cannot get employment. By the virtue that MVD, Minister of Internal Affairs, often was, certain units were dispatched to work under auspices of back then KGB, I couldn't get a job. I couldn't start a business. I couldn't get nothing.
Right. What could you do?
Work for the guys that will pay me for my skills.
Got it. Okay.
And there was a lot of dudes like that coming back. The country that they served in the military dissolved. It no longer existed. It became complete chaos. People are starving. Nobody has fucking money. Crime is rampant. And then you come home and everybody's spitting in your face because you served the enemy. You know what I mean? There was a lot of fucking anger, man, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of angry and very skilled young guys. And people went to work, whoever offered money. Some of them went to fucking, equivalent of SWAT teams. Some of them became hitmen for the fucking organized crime groups. Mm-hmm. Because all your fucking sense of like loyalty or decency was erased by that chaos. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm going to sell myself out to whoever pays the fucking money.
Sure.
Because you come back and kids that you went to school with that maybe had parents with connections or a little bit money that they bought them a fucking fake car that they're mentally incompetent to serve in military. 2 years that you serve in military, you come back, this motherfucker is driving $85,000 BMW 850 fucking lighting up his cigars with $100 bills. I have 22 rubles in my pocket after war. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was an interesting time, man.
So how does one leave that country and come to the United States? How does that happen?
A few bribes, few people that know how to do things. When people say that, Americans cannot be bribed, I beg to differ. Embassy people can be. And so anyway,
Got it.
when it was time to leave, we have a saying in Russia is that in certain lifestyle, you can live that life only one way, and that's your feet forward. That's how they carry out the corpses out of the funeral homes, feet forward, right? And I decided, I just got married, and I decided that I not gonna test the luck. I didn't want to do anymore what I was doing. So initial plan was, we're gonna go to the States, spend a couple of years. Usually that's the lifespan in that lifestyle for most people. Most people that are in it probably gonna be dead by the time I, decide to come back. And but then I figured that in this country, if you work, you can actually have decent living without hurting other people.
So when you came to the United States, where did you land?
We came to New York originally, but then my ex-wife, she had relatives in Cleveland, Ohio, Mistake-on-the-Lake.
Okay.
So we went to Cleveland, Ohio, and I worked for a couple of months for her uncle, who was doing I think they called erectors, not like erection this way, but they erect like big industrial, like storage units, like you see in the Home Depots and Lowe's.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the first time I visited Dallas, Texas, because they had a big job in one of the things, and that's the first time I always killed the Mexican guy.
The first time.
Yeah. Yeah, because he gave me a fucking habanero pepper without telling me what it is. I never saw a Mexican run so fast, man.
Yeah.
To this day, not even across the border.
Okay.
I was gonna kill that schmuck, but and I saw Texas. I liked Texas. I'm like, okay, this is cool, and never thought I would move to Texas or whatnot. But fast forward a number of years, and here I am living in the countryside of Texas, wearing my fucking Stetson. And,
Yeah.
And strutting around in my cowboy boots,
And now you're a farmer.
and making kids on the farm.
Yeah. So how did you get back? How did you go from, once you hit the United States, when did you pick up equipment and guns, and how did you become a trainer?
That was weird, man, because for the first couple of years, as I said, I did for a couple of months that. Then I went to work for a landscaping company, right? So in Cleveland, I had within a few months, they made me like a foreman of the crew and all that stuff. And we did not just like cutting the grass and all that stuff. We did a lot of like installation of landscaping designs around houses, apartment complexes and all that. So I had within a few months, I had like 5 or 6 Mexican guys working for me, and I started learning, how to say the puta right, and and all that stuff. No vales verga.
Trabajo.
Yeah, cabrones, yeah. And then I decided that this is not a respectable job. I'm dirty. I'm covered in dirt and all that stuff. Growing up in Soviet Union, I always was fascinated with Western cars, American cars, Japanese cars. I always wanted something nice. A Honda Prelude was my shit.
All right.
Stick shift, VTEC engine. Fuck yeah.
Some Fast and Furious kind of
like
shit.
sex on wheels, So out of the blue, I decided to apply to the car dealership to sell cars, and I got fucking accepted. I was shitty car salesman, but I was great closer. I would just ask people, kind of like in that movie with De Niro, where he was like, "The fuck, you busting my balls? You like the car, you drove the car, you like the car. What the fuck here is to think about? That kind of stuff." And so I worked for the dealership in the Cleveland area, and it was owned by Italian family that had a waste management business in New York.
Got it. Yeah.
So became friend with the owner. We used to visit strip clubs in Cleveland together often, and then one day, man, about a year into it, I received a call from this one dude, and he goes like, "Hey, Mr. Puzikas, I heard a little bit about your background. We have a job here to provide personal protection for this person." And I go like, "What?" And then he mentioned the amount of money paid, and I go like, "When you want me there?" He goes like, "Yesterday." I'm like, "Okay, I'll be on the plane yesterday." So I called my boss, and I go like, "I quit." He's like, "When?" I'm like, "I just did."
Yesterday.
Next day I was on the plane, and I went on my first protection job, and I started doing protection security. Within a few months, again, I was running details. I had details at some point where upwards to 30 people worked for me in protection business. And On some of them would be like, in the places where was access to some ranges or private properties and all that stuff. And I was like, on the free time, I'm like, I'm going to take my gun out and go shoot, refresh my stuff. And some of the guys would be like, hey, do you mind if we tag along? And they would watch me do that. And they go like, what the fuck is this, man? It's different. Show me. What does that mean? Why you do this, And I kind of started explaining, and I found myself enjoying it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is fucking cool, man. It feels good. Guys are fucking having these eureka moments, and they're like, they giddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Grown men become fucking like kids that
And had not ever been exposed to it.
that want to explore, and they want, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, they rediscovered the value of discovery.
Yeah,
You
they're hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is kind of cool feeling, And so anyway, fast forward, I did protection for about 8 years full time. Trained a lot of guys during that time, and then I was on the road about 300 days out of the year. I was making good money. Everything was paid off. Great cars at home. Never get to drive them because 300 days out of the year I'm fucking away. And so then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna open my own fucking school. I had money saved up and everything. So by then, this is just prior to 9/11. We decided to move to Florida.
Okay.
Because my ex-wife was getting the job at the new Ritz-Carlton in Sarasota. She worked for the Ritz-Carlton company. So we moved to Sarasota, and then 9/11 happened. Next thing I know, I started getting calls from the alphabet soup agencies about coming in and doing some consulting. I find myself in front of, agents in charge of this field office from that agency, and then unnamed people from no such agency, and Christians in Action and all these other guys, and consulting, doing work, and doing red teaming of certain military installations, and together with Israeli guys, with, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This weird fucking mix, right? And I'm like, man, I'm loving this shit. You know what I mean? And I'm getting paid great money. So it's not like I'm in Soviet military, I'm fighting wars, and I'm still fucking, provided government food and, and all that stuff. I'm actually making great money. I'm living in great hotels. I get to travel. I get to see places. I get to speak in front of 200 people that want to buy me shots of vodka after that. I'm like, this is cool. It's ego stroking shit also going on. So, and then over time, I opened my school in Florida. I'm not going to say that it was like, I broke the bank and all that stuff, but it was okay. It was doing all right, enough for me to, with savings that we already had, enough for me to have comfortable living, and then I met some other guys that were former Navy SEALs and all that stuff, and they asked me to head certain aspects of training in their bigger companies, and so through that, it kind of evolved and went into some law enforcement and military. And then through that, someone contacted me from the Spike TV, and then this channel, and then that channel. Then from there, someone found out about me in the movie industry. They came to discuss the script for the movie, and then they asked me about tactical advice. Next thing I know that, I have a Russian ugly face, and now I'm going to play a role in the movie. Next thing I know, the guy calls me from the company that does the Call of Duty, and so it was, none of that was like by design, you know what I mean? It's just one thing led to another, and it happened, and I was living great life, and enjoying myself, and thinking of myself as, I'm living American dream, and then divorce happened. Then the accidental negligent shooting happened, and other things happened, and bad relationship happened, and depression happened, and everything fell apart, to the very bottom, to the point where I was thinking about ending things,
Right.
And it's funny, man, because James Yeager was one of the first guys to contact me.
Yeah.
And he said, I know how it feels to be hated and alone. He goes, my range is your range, anytime you want to teach. That's when he introduced me to you.
I heard you're here, and I'm like, I want to meet that motherfucker now.
So I started rebuilding, and it was a slow, painful process, because the divorce stuff, the shooting stuff, lost 80 and 90% of business. not unreasonably being made fun of and mocked and people being told not to train with me because I'm dangerous, irresponsible, and all that.
Only on the internet, never to
And
your
it's
face,
okay.
never in person.
And John, and it's okay, it's not unusual, and it's not, yeah, you can say that's a pussy way of doing things. You're a simple bitch of doing that. You know what? But majority of people, that's what they're gonna do.
It's because that's what they are, the majority of people.
Yeah, they are, but you know what? I'm not angry about that. Not anymore. I used to be. Now I'm like, you know what? That's your life. That's your new normal. It's not normal for me, but that's your new normal. And if that's how you're going to live your life, if that's the example you're going to give to your kids and all that stuff, I'll pray for your kids not to follow in your example, because they're going to become simple bitches, worse than you are. You're a backstabbing coward that you can only talk shit about other people because you know that if I come to see you face to face, you're not going to fucking be man or stand up. You're going to call the law.
Yeah,
and
they're going to run away or not.
And that. And you know that. And at first it was like bewildering and fucking, and you raging and all that stuff. Gradually I just kind of went like, you know what? Why am I reacting to that shit? I'll tell you the truth, man. Part of it was actually talking to you where you go like, you know what? You're not going to be liked by everyone. Actually, with what you do, you're going to be hated by a lot. You told me the phrase, your haters are the most loyal employees, and you don't have to pay them.
Yeah, it's true.
And I took it to heart.
Yeah.
I took it to heart. I'm not good businessman and using it and becoming rich at it, you know what I mean? But on that level, I stopped trying to please everybody. So thank you for that advice because it helped. It helped.
When did things turn around where you like actually noticed that they had turned around? You're like, this is working.
It's going to sound weird, man, when I met my current wife.
Yeah. Yeah, how did you guys meet?
Through training.
She came to take a class?
Well, here's the interesting thing. So she followed my training through social media because of my views on government, police, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. She was hardcore, what they call themselves, anarcho-capitalists.
Yep.
So basically, government, stay the fuck out of our business. Taxation is theft. You are criminals. Let people, if they want to be gay while growing weed and protecting it with full automatic machine guns, so fucking be it, as long as they don't harm other people.
Yep.
She was in that very anti-police, very anti-authority and all that stuff. And she liked the fact that I stopped training police departments. I would train individual officers, but I would not train like SWAT teams or whatnot because of what I saw in training, what they say about taxpayers,
mm-hmm.
about us citizens. I was like, fuck that. You know what I mean? I'm going to concentrate on training strictly civilians. She liked that. That was her draw, And then she made on Facebook this funny thing. There was argument about fucking AR versus AK and all that stuff. She makes this comment that I read, and I went like, who is this bitch? You know what I mean? And she makes a comment. She goes like, the curvature on AK magazine is perfect for the G-spot stimulation. I'm like, I want to know who this chick is, right? So then I look on her social media, and I'm like, damn, she's pretty fucking hot. But then I figure out, so she's dating one of my students. Off limits, right? And, then him and her split, and they together once came to one of my force-on-force classes, and then she messaged me, I want to come to your next force-on-force class. I'm like, so you're coming with him? She's like, no. And so she came, and, we went out to eat, we had a drink, started talking, and I think 6 months later, she moved to Dallas.
Got it. And you have been together how long now?
So it has been going on 7 years now.
Got it.
And then, we lived together. I proposed. We got married. We had 2+ years of struggling to conceive the baby. And did that. So a lot of those things, the steps that gradually kind of, put the ground under my feet again.
Mm-hmm. And she grew up in the Mormon church?
Yeah, she grew up in Salt Lake City in the Mormon church, Mormon family. She left the church at the age of 17.
Okay.
Not only she stopped going to church, she sent an official written request to remove her name.
Got it. Yeah.
So she was that pissed about the organized religion and what's going on in the bowels, so to speak, of the of the big church movements, right? So she moved to Dallas months before the whole thing with BLM riots, and that summer started. We find the property, we buy the property, we move out of Dallas, right?
Yeah.
BLM starts, all that stuff. We out there in East Texas. She makes a comment. She goes like, "Guess what I found? I found a Russian Orthodox church here in East Texas." I'm like, "Since when you interested in church?" It was interesting time, as I said, because Megan was, she really wanted to become biological mom. At that point, it was about the time that my ex got DUI and all that stuff. So my kids from first marriage, they came to live with us there. Non-biological children, no matter how much people say it's the same, I'm going to treat them as my own. They're not your own.
Understood.
You can't pretend that. And then when you cannot conceive your own, especially when you want to be a mother, you know what I mean? It's a lot of stress. And then with stuff going on and my dealings with my ex and business is not being good and financial strains and then the pandemic and killing the rest of the business and and all that stuff, man. And she's like, I don't know, I need some footing, And so we went to Orthodox Church. We spoke to people. We spoke to fathers there, to priests in those churches and all that. And I know it's going to sound cheesy, man. I probably lost about 30% of my following because I became this fundamentalist Christian. I came out of the closet as a fundamentalist Christian, but I don't care. I really don't, John. And we found footing.
Was it difficult when you walked back in the church? Was it uncomfortable? Just like nothing had happened, just right back in.
The opposite. It felt like
you needed it
off the shoulders. Mm-hmm. It's going to sound probably strange, but like a lot of people in the Western world, especially, it's the term I guess you can use. It's self-existence. I achieved everything I achieved. I saved everything I saved. I prevented everything bad from happening. You know what I mean? And so we become our own gods, And what I noticed, man, is that when I was very successful in my life, between the movies and games and, and training and all that stuff, I was that fucking guy. I made my own fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
But I also destroyed it. You know what I mean? And I think it's that part of self-existence of you putting yourself as I'm the master of my life. And I always balked when people fucking say, learn humility, learn not submission, but learn obedience. I'm like, obedience? Alpha males don't do fucking obedience, motherfucker. This is for bitches. I found incredible strength in that, man. And it's peaceful strength, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't care. I know there's something bigger than me. I haven't seen it. I probably can't comprehend if I did see it, but I felt its presence. I've seen examples of it happening. I don't know if you saw it on social media when I had 3 weeks ago the class, that something very profound happened to all of us in that class. We were part of playing a big part in a guy who was in the process of committing suicide and he didn't. And the coincidence of how it happened, 2 weeks before the class, I decided it's a 5-day class that I do at my place once a year called Fear Inoculum. And it's a very heavy class, psychologically, physically, many other ways. It's very, as one of my students calls it, it's the class of a humbling fist and a truth cock. And it's painful class. It breaks people. Fucking 2 weeks before the class, I decided, because it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, I'm going to fucking take them without them knowing to church with me.
Mm.
That's like, from business perspective, it's like suicidal fucking move, right? Because some people will go like, well, screw your Bible thumping, dude. I don't know how I came up with that, man. I really don't. I told Megan, I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. She looked at me. She goes like, good, do it. I'm like, okay. So Sunday, I told them to meet me at the coffee shop and then follow me.
They didn't know where they're going.
No, they all dressed for fucking tactical training in the mud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we show up in this beautiful Orthodox church in Tyler, 10 savages walk in, looking like a fucking criminals, And some of those guys, they had very colorful pasts, including one guy, was pronounced dead with a needle in his vein more than once. The other guy was a cop and then criminal, and then, in a pretty hardcore biker gang. The other guy is professional MMA fighter. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, colorful crew with a lot of life experience and traction, through their lives. So we go to that church. They like attend the service. They watch me. I take my, I do my church duties and all that stuff, and we walk out, and then Father David, the priest of that church, walks up, and it started raining, and I go like, "Hey, Father David, is there like a park that has like a pavilion or something under the roof, because we're going to do some live blade training, so I don't want people slipping in the fucking mud and cutting each other and all that shit," right? He goes like, "Go to this place that has like an amphitheater, that's big area with the concrete floors, so you're not going to be slipping." Like without thinking, he tells me this place, right? I look, it's only 12 minutes from the church. Good. Interesting fact, that Sunday in Orthodoxy is celebrated as St. Thomas Day. Now, St. Thomas is the guy who doubted that Jesus has risen. And he said, unless I see it and I can put my fingers in his wounds, I'm not going to do it. And then the famous words supposedly said by Jesus, he said, you believe because you've seen. Blessed are those who have faith without seeing. So that's doubting Thomas, right? Comes from there. So Father David sends us to this place. We all get there, people unloading bags, taking it to the pavilion and all that stuff. I follow them. I see some guys sitting there. I can smell alcohol and something else much stronger than alcohol from a distance. He looks very rough.
And this guy's not part of your crew.
No, he was there when we arrived.
Got it.
Long story short, he watches us train with the blades, and he starts talking during the breaks. He's a former Marine, has PTSD, served in Iraq and all that stuff. This morning he found out his dad has literally weeks left to live, terminal stage cancer. Sorry to hear that, man, and this and that. And then we're talking some deeper stuff, because it's a deep class, 5-day class that kind of touches on some inner fears of people. And so people ask like more substantial, deeper questions that people usually are afraid to be that intimate with each other, especially men, because it exposes your weaknesses and your fears and your fucking bullshit that you try to hide from the world, right? So we start talking, and then he asks this question. He goes like, why it's so cruel? Why God allows, he has all the power to make things right. Why there's so much evil and wrong exists, and it wins most of the time, So we start talking about that, and he watches training. He drops to his knees. He goes like, don't ever lose the faith that you have. We all kind of look at him. He's crying. He's bawling. You know what I mean? He stands up, and then he goes like, I don't think you fucking guys understand. He goes, I didn't come here to drink beer. He goes, I came here to die. He goes, I took 20 pills, painkillers, all the other things. I drank a bottle of antifreeze.
Oh, shit.
Now I'm drinking alcohol, and I have a piece in my backpack to finish the job if none of that does it. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, it's fucking very real. He's not faking, he's not acting, you see it. He's in so much pain, he's so destroyed, it's like, fuck me, man. So I go talk to him, and long story short, it was a personal conversation between me and him. A small detail, his name is David. Father David sent us there on the day of doubting Thomas. Coincidence, all of it coincidence. And he hugs me. I no longer smell him or don't pay attention to it because it's just too profound of what's happening, And he goes like, he showed me the text message from his mom, who texted him that he called poison control. She called cops. They're looking for him because she knows that he's suicidal. They just don't know where he's at. And then he goes like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go home. I'm going to shower. I'm going to sleep off, and I'm going to see you at church, brother. And he went home. And, it's one of those moments I come back to where our group is, and to the one, all 9 guys are fucking crying. It was so fucking real, John. I had, phone conversations with people that were on the edge of committing suicide, and some of them did, some of them didn't. But this was the most intimate I ever faced, and I'm not a shrink by any means, nor am I theologian, nor am I, none of those things. It was very human, very real, to where you kind of go like, man, this was special. So one of my students, who 26 years ago was pronounced dead with a needle in his shit, he's like anti-religion like you wouldn't believe. A week later on his podcast, he goes in and he goes like, I'm going home. I accept the cross. And I'm like, you know what I mean? It was that profound on that dude. And he's a fucking hard motherfucker. He's
Right.
seen life. He's been to hell and back a few times, you know? So I was like, man, this was a powerful moment. You know? So things like that, man, when you go through something like that, you kind of go like, man, what is my purpose? And so, yeah. Out of the blue, I decided to share this. I don't know why, but I'm not a good
Did you ever
storyteller.
see that? Did that man come to church?
Huh?
Did that guy from the park there that day come to church? Have you seen him?
I don't know. I don't know. You know, and it was funny. It wasn't like it wasn't my will. I didn't ask for his number. I didn't give him my number. It was like this overwhelming feeling. It's someone else's hands. I just need to say what I say, and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And everybody there present. And I said, John, it wasn't the fucking guys that you go like easily impressionable motherfuckers. This was the group of guys aging from the late 20s into 60s that done time, that have hurt people severely, sometimes with ultimate outcomes. You know what I mean? Professional fighters, guys that been fucking bouncing and fucking DJing at the strip clubs on the border between fucking Idaho and Montana. You know? These are not easily impressionable people. You know what I mean? And to the one, they were fucking broken after what they saw. To such level that it was profound on me. You know what I mean? You know, I've seen some life, I've seen some death, but this was fucking powerful, dude. This was very, very real. You know, and it was a unique experience. What can I say?
Because you took him to church.
I didn't. I think he did.
Yeah.
I really
Right.
think it felt like he was there going like,
Led you?
Can you believe this now, motherfucker? Put your finger in here, motherfucker.
Mm.
You know, it was that fucking real, that overwhelming for all of us. It wasn't like single person impression. You know, we all sat down talking, and we were looking at each other and go like, this has really fucking just happened. You know what I mean? And you know, the event of coincidences of how the weather changed, because it was supposed to be sunny day, but it started raining. Father David sends us to the specific part where the guy named David came to end his life.
That's wild shit, man. Did David leave on his own, or did somebody come get him? Or
Oh, he left on his own. He walked. He said, "I'll see you in church, brother." Whether he meant in physical church or whatever else, I don't know. You know, but I felt, you know, it was this not like feeling, not like emotion, but it was almost like injected from outside feeling of peace. He's gonna be all right. I didn't have to watch him or follow him or call somebody. Hey, somebody needs to watch this guy.
yeah,
It was like, it's taken care of. You did your job. Shut the fuck up. Go train people. You know what I mean? And it was like, man, what the fuck was this? You know. And usually, I you know, for understandable reasons, I'm careful to talk about, you know, I guess spiritual moments like that, because a lot of people will go like, yes, you just, you know, it was probably you at the weak moment in your life, and you easily fucking, you know, something like that happens, and you think that this is divine providence or whatnot. I've seen shit, man. I've been around a few rodeos. I'm not easily motherfucking put down on my knees. I'm not.
maybe that dude was an angel, and he was there for those other 9 guys.
I don't know. Maybe he helped us more than we helped him.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? I really don't know. They say his ways are unknown, you know, and they are. So I'm not going to question what it was about. If it somehow comes to be what it was meant to be, so be it. But anyway, it was just a very unique day. And the whole week, what led to it was very unique, the way it unfolded. So I love doing this shit, man. It's sometimes training takes to turn into completely like uncharted territories where all of a sudden a group of fucking dudes with life experience standing there looking at each other and go like, what the fuck just happened? What did we just touch upon, you know, or what have we discovered through pain and hitting each other and you know, doing risky shit and dangerous shit and all that stuff, and then something like that happens that's completely out of the realm of violence and, you know, and anything else, and you go like, man, you know, maybe there is something much bigger than us.
Are your classes, are they always so physical?
They're not as physical as they used to be, but they are much heavier psychologically. than they used to be.
Well, why change?
Physicality becomes gamey. Physicality breeds ego. Especially when people become better, you actually kind of like pushing them into that self-existence, I'm bigger than life shit. You know what I mean? Especially when they conquer certain, be it number of repetitions or how long you can hold the fucking plank position, or how deep of a hard hits you can take for how long, and how many of that shit you can break, how fast you can move. It becomes pride-feeding mechanism. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen strong, prideful guys self-destroy. Unchecked pride, I think, kills more people than bullets and alcohol and cars combined. Unchecked pride, So I think moments like that, it's not that they are humiliating in any physical way, but it fucking humiliates your spirit. Humbles, not humiliates, humbles your spirit to where you have a healthy reset, And I still enjoy physicality. I still love fucking torturing people physically and doing all that shit, But I'm trying to project now more of a understand why you're doing what you're doing. What is your purpose? Find your purpose. And in some ways, man, it's not that really dissimilar, although it is different. Like with your stuff, right? You still make gear, you still SOE and all that stuff, but but your turn into self-sufficiency and and all that stuff. I'm like, this is so fucking cool, man, to watch, because it's almost like deeper, more meaningful purpose to that, right? And not to be some kind of a fucking, I'm doing it for the greater good of others and all that. No, I'm doing this for myself, but as a fucking effect of me becoming better at this, it affects people around me and it helps them to fucking better themselves, right?
Right. Yeah, we had a party when everybody was locked down, right? We had a party and we didn't really announce it. We didn't promote it or anything. Yeah. And like 200 people still showed up.
That's awesome, man.
And I didn't expect that, I expected 30, 50. And I felt like I let them down. I'm like, I don't have machine guns here. We don't have fireworks. There's no band.
They didn't come for that.
And they're like, man, we want to see the garden. We want to see the rabbits. And I ran around, and at the end of the day, Amanda's like, you look beat. I go, I am fucking exhausted, and I don't know why. She's like, you ran around this place for
nonstop
for 16 hours showing people, and like I was excited.
But you were full of enthusiasm.
Yeah, the energy, man. It was like, and
you were feeding off of them, right? But
it's different than all the other shit, When people come in and it's music and you're just kind of doing your thing, but like they were hungry for it, and I was able to fucking show them.
It's very real.
Put hands on it.
It's very. Not only meaningful, but it's fucking rewarding on a deeper level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very rewarding. And that's what I'm noticing with teaching. That's why I said, for me as an analogy, when I'm watching you now doing your stuff, when I have time, or I don't have time to watch, but I listen, and I'm like, I'm loving it, man. I'm like, this is like John stepped into a fucking, this deeper water of exploring, because really this is exploring your personal freedom. This is exploring your fucking, independence and self-sufficiency, and all that is also, it does take you closer to the way we are meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And further away from fucking corruption of what current, postmodernist fucking life bullshit is.
I think it's important. Like, we sit down and have these conversations, and people get something from you, and I get something from you, and vice versa. And we're so compartmentalized, right? We're so busy. Our side, whatever side that is, right? We work, right? We're not out doing crazy shit, and we don't have a crazy fucking message because we're busy fucking raising our families and producing for ourselves and setting examples for our children. And we're not loud, right? We're not out fucking protesting. We're not carrying signs. We don't have some crazy fucking agenda, and we're busy, so we're not having the conversations, right? And we feel like we're alone. And then when you get around other people, you're like, oh, that dude just said all the same stuff I say.
There's a lot of us.
Yeah, and social, how do we communicate nowadays? We don't talk face to face, right? Conspire means to breathe together, right? Yeah. And this thing it's curated in a manner that it doesn't connect us, right? All we see is the crazy shit, but maybe the crazy shit isn't fucking winning, and maybe there's more of us, and we're just not having the fucking conversations.
You know, maybe, but I also think this, John. I think that it's like certain passages from Scripture, specifically from Judges, right? When all these thousands and thousands of people, taking over the land of Jews, right? And the Lord tells this one guy, put together an army, and he puts 14,000 people, and he goes, too much. And he lowers it down to 2,000 or whatever it was, and ends up with 300. It's a selection process. We don't need numbers, man. What we need is quality and substance. And I think what people do, with a lot of in survival podcasts and people that explain the financial bullshit that's going on, people that explain all the shit that, we're kind of running out of conspiracy theories because most of them have become fucking facts, right? So we need to import more from China. And, when people go into these red pill fucking trips, people are laughing about Alex Jones. Fucking 50% of what he has said 6 years ago has
I think it's
become a reality.
That. Yeah, I think it's higher than that.
Higher than that. I'm being very conservative in my numbers, But I don't think that it's about just numbers. I think it's more about quality and substance of numbers that we do have. But I think you are right that numbers of people listening to this message and supportive of this message and thinking similar way is greater than we give credit for. And we haven't yet perfected the way to communicate. So, maybe this is one of the ways. Maybe the festivals of, people getting together and learning how to fucking grow a tomato, how to plant this. You see people coming in to shoot 2,000 rounds. Motherfucker has zero information how not to die from shitty food.
Yeah,
and I go like, oh, so you have a fucking self-defense skills, but whatever is FDA approved will kill you fucking faster than any terrorist or fucking thug. Not just you, your whole family.
Do you think the United States is collapsing? Having seen it, are we heading that way?
In its current form, yes. I think we're going to have a reset, and God willing, we're going to have a reset. I hope it's not yet time for the second coming, let me put it this way.
Do you think there's a war coming?
Yes.
Who is the enemy? Face to face, U.S. citizen, man, who will he be combating?
Another U.S. citizen, for the most part of a younger generations, for the most part, people that went through the educational system of the past 20 years, for the most part, city dwellers, and almost 100% of them are in support of the new religion of tolerate everything.
Armed and equipped by?
We all know that.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yeah. I'm not worried about TikTok and China knocking on my door.
No, I'm not worried. People go like, China is evil, Russia is evil. I'm like, you have much more dangerous and powerful enemy at your doorstep. Don't worry about China.
Yeah.
Neither Russians nor Chinese are crazy enough to try to invade this country or do anything here.
Yeah, they're cataloging us right now.
They're just watching it.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of people in Russia, they're laughing. They go like, we are watching Roman Empire to self-destruct from within. You don't need no Huns overrunning you. You don't need no motherfucking barbers or none of that. You're going to self-destruct because of what you allow.
When do you think you'll start to see violence pop off like that for normal citizens?
I think it's mainly going to be determined by how quickly deterioration of entitlements will become real. And what I mean by entitlements is, rolling blackouts in Ukraine or Bulgaria is one thing. Rolling blackouts in California for 3 months straight when you can only have hot water on Wednesday and Saturday morning, and then it's not enough for the whole family to take a shower, when you cannot run your air conditioner for more than fucking hour a week, you'll start to see it happening.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have per se food shortage. You may have shortage in your customer resources,
your preferences,
your Walmarts,
yeah.
your fucking Whole Foods and all that stuff. Fucking farming in this country is pretty damn strong, man. And you know, that's one thing as a Russian I can tell you, that American entrepreneurship is second to fucking none. Second to fucking none. Nothing comes close to that. So I think businesses will still be operating. I build businesses. You're just gonna need to know where to go and who to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and eventually, what I think is gonna be exposed, that's people that created some kind of a fucking, you know, I wouldn't call it society within society, but you know, somewhat of a fellowship of people that think similar ways and they see things for what they are versus, you know, bowing down to what they hear on fucking Fox or CNN or whatnot.
Your own community, your own tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your own tribe, your own village, your own fucking, you know what I mean? Your own people, my people.
Yeah.
You know, I can go to them, they can come to me. You know, why? Because we bring value into the big game. Someone's value can be he has fucking heavy machinery. Someone else's value can be he knows how to fix fucking generators and do that. Another guy fucking is exceptional in agriculture. Another guy is exceptional in radio communications. Another guy can fucking provide electronic protection measures that will fucking zap anyone coming onto property. Another guy can train people to fucking shoot people or cut people or punch people. Another guy can teach fucking whatever. You know what I mean? All this fucking specialization, and you know, it's kind of like fucking. I know it sounds weird, but it's kind of like not a Hollywood version of Atlas Shrugged.
That's funny. I was just thinking. I'm actually listening to Atlas Shrugged right now. I have been for the last few weeks, and when you said that, talking about all the skills, I was literally thinking Atlas Shrugged right then.
It is non-Hollywood version of Atlas Shrugged without the glory of multimillionaires and
Right,
huge business
right.
owners and you know and you know, and Elon Musk's and all those guys.
We don't have a force field.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be more communal. I think it's going to be more on people that have certain interests and stuff connecting them and certain ideas. And I think it's healthy come back to what we are meant to be. We are meant to be healthy, small communities taking care of our own, and other communities benefit because of that. And we have exchange of value for value.
Yeah.
Versus fucking mandated fucking acceptance and tolerance of this and that. I don't give a fuck who you sleep with and what you identify with. What I do give a fuck if you have a dick and you go into the bathroom that my daughter just went in.
Right. Yeah.
Now that affects me.
Go use the fucking family bathroom fucking
Whatever,
by yourself.
piss outside.
Yeah.
Wait until my girl walks out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do not impose your fucking sick will on me. And I'm not afraid to say sick will because someone will call me a homophobe or transphobe and all that. I'm all fucking that. I admit it. I don't like transsexuals and trannies and cross-dressers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Does it mean I want to kill them or hurt them? No.
You ever walked into a girl's bathroom? Like by accident, you just walked in and you're like,
yes.
I'm in the wrong place,
By accident,
right?
yes.
All the stalls have doors. So why the fuck do any little girls know that the person in that stall has a fucking dick? That's a problem, right? Because I've been in a few women's bathrooms, not intentionally,
Actually,
but they all have fucking doors.
Actually, one time I did go intentionally at the gas station because I needed to go so fucking bad.
So I do that in
if
if I'm into Starbucks or some bullshit, right? I'll piss in whichever one's fucking open.
Well, Starbucks no longer even has the mark.
Correct. They're all co-ed now. Yeah. But why do the girls know that there's a dude with a dick standing there, right? Because all those fucking stalls have doors on them.
Because
they did it on purpose.
Yes.
Because that's the problem, right? I don't have a lesbian, gay. I have very good friends that are a couple. I have two friends, actually, two sets. The problem is the other bullshit that's added on there.
It's pushing it upon you.
Yes.
I mean, it's they forcing their religion upon me.
Yeah, Target's got it out fucking loud and proud right now. All the like just insane shit going on.
Yeah. I know, and you know, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, you know what? Give the rainbow back where it belongs, to kids.
Right. Yeah. What was the rainbow actually for? I actually listened to this today. The rainbow was God promising, that there would not be any more flood.
Yes. Yes. And it was stolen, and it's used now as this fucking pretty powerful weapon, and grazers out there, they fucking eating it up, man.
Yeah, and it's used for division.
It is.
It's to take people who are busy working and raising their family to take notice and identify an enemy, and now we can have, it's about division, black and white, gay and straight,
pro-gun, anti-gun, pro-abortion, and all that.
And then to further, who's the worst enemy of the people that want to own guns. Other motherfuckers with guns. All of it. Who's going to turn you in? Motherfuckers that know you have guns. Why do they know? Because you went shooting with them.
I'll go further than that. I think actually within the gun community, shooting community, I think very significant proportion of that community is more snowflakes than the fucking purple-haired snowflakes we like to laugh about.
Sure.
They are more snowflakes
sure.
than those
Yeah.
lefties.
Yeah. I mean, if you look, I don't know if you've seen, we've been doing podcasts, Scully and I, and he's been putting up these clips that make people very angry, right? They're all gun dudes. Mm-hmm. I mean, we do have some like true anti-gunners showing up and some Antifa people and stuff, but 90% of them,
gun people.
They're gun dudes. Like when I'm always curious, right? I'm like, you're saying some pretty hateful shit. Who is this motherfucker, right? So I'll click on his shit. He's out last weekend shooting. He's got fucking, and that's what I'm like, hey, we have more in common than we have not in common, right? Go be a better fucking human being.
You know what, John? What I noticed with gun is that there's a very interesting video of Russian, very hardcore Russian dudes from the first Chechen war. So these were guys with similar backgrounds to mine, some of them more hardcore backgrounds than mine, that went and sold their souls to anyone who would pay. And they worked for people like Boris Berezovsky, who hung himself in London a few years back.
Boscovich over there.
Those kind of guys, all former KGB guys that became billionaires with the fall of Soviet Union and bought up all the enterprises from the state, on pennies on the dollar, because other 50 guys that were betting on the business they just disappeared.
Was that a money thing or was that a Christian Muslim thing?
It was money. It was all power and money. Religion was used as a fucking cover cloth to divide. It was not Christian Muslim thing, man. A lot of guys in the Russian military and all that stuff, in the Soviet Spetsnaz and all that stuff. Now I meet some Chechen guys, I talk to them and all that stuff. We are actually closer than I am with a lot of guys that are of Western values. They do have a healthy savagery. You talk shit, you get hit. Because you gotta have respect. Respect people's family, respect their privacy, respect their fucking faith, respect their, you know what I mean? Don't be a douche. Just because you can and you're protected by law, fucking toleration of anything, I'm a minor attracted person or I'm this and that. Fuck you. So when Khabib Nurmagomedov in UFC jumped the fucking cage to fight those guys, I was applauding. I'm like, you know what? This is healthy savagery. We need fucking more of this shit. And they will call it toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm. I haven't heard that one in a while.
You know what? I'm as fucking toxic.
Yeah, highly toxic. That's what I want to do, a shirt that says
highly toxic. Yeah. Yes. And I'm working on being more so.
Yeah.
You know what my wife says? She goes like, that's the man that I want to sleep with and fuck.
Yep. Not inclusive. Not equitable.
No.
Don't give a fuck about your feelings.
Nope.
Highly hostile.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the truth is not, there's a saying. One father said this. He goes, devil deals in facts, but not in truth.
Mm.
You can select the facts and present your case, but is it the truth? And then I see this in this post-Christian, post-modernist world. That's what it's becoming. They're using, trust the science, follow the science. It's been proven that so many people are born with a different combination of XY chromosomes. So,
Right.
So who pays for all those researches? Follow the fucking money, old adage, right? And you'll find out who the fuck is driving this shit forward. And then you can tell me that it's a conspiracy theory, that there's these evil elites. It's fucking Satanism. There's no other way to call it.
And if you don't believe in Satanism, it certainly fucking looks like Satanism. I mean, bold and in your face in Hollywood, like everywhere you fucking look. I mean, just the letters they choose to represent things, and when you look at them,
it's not accidental.
No.
And like you are correct. They're no longer even hiding it.
No, they are not.
They don't try to hide it.
No, it's so. Do you think that in the game they're playing, they almost have to tell you Like, why do they telegraph their punch, right? There's going to be a pandemic that's going to shut the world down, right? And the Event 201, 12 months, 18 months ahead of time, right? They telegraph the punch. Prepare for a cold, dark winter. You're going to have rolling blackouts. Grow. You better get some food stocked away because there's not. Why would they tell us ahead of time? Why are they doing that?
So people again are gonna go like, this motherfucker was a really deep hidden closet Christian. Now he came out as a fucking brimstone and fire fucking Christian, right? You wake up at 4 o'clock and you start your day, right?
Yeah.
Devil doesn't sleep. You train for 3-4 hours. He's always on. He doesn't need to eat, you do. You know the only thing you have over him? He cannot control his pride. You can. They're doing this because it's pride. They're demonstrating the power. This is what we have on you, and ain't nothing you can fucking do about it.
I feel like you've got madmen, like these billionaires, and they're like, all right, I'm going to tell them they got to wear a mask. And then the next dude's like, I'll take that bet, but I'm going to one-up you. I'm going to tell them they got to screw a light bulb in their ass when they go out in public. And
while wearing 2 masks.
Yeah, and I think that it's literally a fucking...
It's like a sick game.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't seen it, I highly, highly recommend it. Nefarious.
Yeah, man, I keep hearing it. I fucking keep hearing that.
Sean Patrick Flannery, the guy that plays the Nefarious, the demon, I did a Sinners and Saints with him. So I met him in 2009. Incredibly underrated actor. Incredibly underrated actor. What he does in that movie, not that I believe that Academy Awards is any justice or whatnot and all that stuff, but it's fucking Academy Award performance. I would compare it to fucking, on the positive spectrum, I would compare it to Al Pacino in Devil's Advocate. It's that fucking good, man.
Do you think people in Hollywood, when they all of a sudden get famous and they just fucking blow up, do you think they sold their souls? Do you think that's real? Who do they sell their souls to? Like, you think there's a dude that comes in with a book and he's like, I'm here on behalf of Satan. Like, how do you think that happens?
If I would know, I would try to find that dude. But I know I'm powerless against him without him. When you have a chance, I know you and man are very busy people and all that, but make an effort to see Nefarious, John.
I will.
Seriously.
I will.
I took my wife and my 13-year-old boy into it. My boy was like, for the first time in his life, he understood evil. Mm-hmm. He saw the enemy. You know what I mean? It's masterful. It's fucking absolutely brilliant. And people criticize it because it's anti-Vogue. You know, and Nefarious in that in one of the episodes there, when he talks to that, you know, psychiatrist, whatever, he goes like, hey, look at that. He goes like, your tolerance, your anti-racism, your abortions. He goes like, here's another one. He goes like, we didn't even come up with that. You did it on your own. You know, and he starts naming all these Vogue things, you know, and it's brilliant, man, because it like shows undeniably where all that shit leads us. You know, and those circles, they hate it because they've been exposed. You know, you look at the fucking Rotten Tomatoes, Nefarious has a ranking of 31 from the critics and 97 by fucking public. And
that
like,
should tell you
should
watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what evil looks like. I know what evil does. But I don't know what evil one looks like.
So,
just as I don't know what God looks like. I don't think, both of them, I think, are so far beyond our comprehension.
How do we win?
That we are delusional that we'll be able to see it. And our problem is that we don't have faith unless we see it. So if we don't have faith that evil exists, we don't have faith that good exists either, right?
The whole yin and yang, yeah.
Because one cannot exist without the other.
Yeah.
You know? And then you're in the fucking vacuum of nothingness. You know? And a lot of fucking people that go like, well, no. I hate organized religion. I have spirituality. And I go, shut the fuck up. This is not a lukewarm, halfway in, almost done. You in or you fucking out. This is black or white. You either fucking fundamentalist good or you sold yourself to evil. By not doing good and by not being good, you already sold it. You don't have to take proactive action.
So what do we do?
Do good. with people that also want to do good.
That's a common theme with a lot of people that sit in that chair.
That's good. That means,
question, yeah.
And I'm going to be biased. That means you invite right people to sit in that chair. Good.
I don't know that I invite them, man. They show up. I didn't know you were in town. Didn't have a fucking clue when Amanda told me.
I just before the trip, I told Megan, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to contact Amanda. I don't know where it came from. I knew I was going to be busy. I knew I was going to be tired. I just had to, praise Jesus. But we won the court case against my ex.
Oh, congrats. Awesome.
It's over after 2.5 years, man.
Good, man.
It was to the point where it was so depressing, so fucking dark that I was like, yesterday judge issued like crushing defeat, But like at first me and Megan go like, fuck yeah, you know what I mean? But then I go like, you know what? Humility and victory. So I called my family back, when I was driving here to Tennessee, and I told Megan, I'm like, you know what, you and Nick, before dinner, say a prayer for his mom. And I found myself in a strange place saying that because I fucking hate that bitch. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But then you go like, if you've been brought low enough, often enough, and you know what it's like down there, you no longer have that clamoring over other people being low. And I think that's part of becoming a fucking decent human being.
And letting go of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because the only person that destroys it's you.
Somebody, I heard recently, I don't remember who it was, maybe it was Ed Milet, right? But he said, it's more important than having positive people around you. It's more important to not have negative people, right? When you let go of that negativity. When I was doing all that hateful shit, right? Guys were like, you're going to go out of business. I'm like, oh yeah, motherfucker, watch this.
Watch me, right?
A lot of guys quietly reached out, and there were a lot of men I didn't know, right? And I think I really fucked myself in like, fuck you up, you don't know me, motherfucker, right? I think I probably closed the doors to doing business with some people that are very much further than I am, right? And they did it very quietly. But there was a lot of dudes that were, out public, front facing. If somebody's, correcting you in public, they are not trying to help you at all. If they cared about you, they would do it, the other way. And I tell people that now, right? And it just clicked one day. I just fucking understood it, right? And it took years for it to sink in. It's like when you tell a kid something and you're like, oh, it's an acquired taste. The kid doesn't know what the fuck that means until 20 years later when he's like, oh, I do like Brussels sprouts. Yeah.
And sushi is fucking amazing shit, right?
Yeah, right. And now when I meet kids, I'll tell them, and I'm like, look, I just told you this thing, and you heard it, but there's going to come a time in the future as you mature, and it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, could be 15 years from now, but it's going to click, and you're going to be like, that's what that dude meant.
You know what, John, I think it really is biblical. Because when you look at, according to the book, how he selected his apostles and people to follow him, none of them were fucking good, clean, nice people. Tax collector.
Right.
A whore.
Yeah.
A murderer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that wisdom about being decent human and trying to live in the path that's written in the book only comes after you fucking go through those steps. It's evolution. I hurt a lot of people in my life. I didn't live up to expectations. I didn't do that shit. I was fucking throwing shit in people's face to piss them off. You know what I mean? And clamored in my controversy and and laughed and go like, hey, you little pussies, yeah, because you can't hold the push-ups or whatever, And now I kind of go like, you know what? I was doing it for my own pride. I was pumping myself. And I'm like, it was the time for that. I did what I did. I don't think if I didn't do that, I would have arrived at where I'm at today.
Where are you going?
And I don't know where I'm going. But I like the direction.
Yeah.
I like the direction. You know what I mean? People go like, so has your life become easier? I'm like, no, it hasn't become easier. I learned much better to handle how not easy it is. I'm no longer stressed out. I no longer bring that anger and uncertainty into my life, into my family, into my house. I'm like, you know what? I need to be more determined, more steadfast, more, you know what I mean? And all of that is fucking written in the book too,
Which Bible do you use?
We use the Orthodox Bible. It is specifically translated in It's from the Septuagint Greek translation, because a lot of translations, like a King James version, all that stuff that goes from the Hebrew, it's not from the, you know, it's actually Hebrew language. That's the newer version of Hebrew language. So there's some interesting, seemingly small details. But when you start dwelling into theology, it becomes fucking heavy. It becomes really heavy. Like in a lot of Western Christianities, you know, when you say, you know, our Father, right, at the end, and, you know, and deliver us from evil. In Eastern Orthodoxy, and deliver us from evil one.
Mm.
It identifies.
Right.
It doesn't say that evil is occurrence.
Yeah.
Evil is an entity. You know what I mean? And when you start fucking listening to things like, you know, on the Daily Wire Plus, Jordan B. Peterson has this series on Exodus, right? Fucking brilliant, absolutely brilliant, you know. And you listen to that motherfucker, how he's able to put high-end theology in the layman language and put it out there. It's fucking, that alone is worth a fucking subscription to the damn thing. Although it's 8 fucking, yeah, I think it's 8 segments of 2 hours each. That's a lot of listening. You know what I mean? But there's some brains on that panel. It's not just Jordan Peterson. It's like 6 or 7 guys, professors of theology from different countries, and it's absolutely fucking stunning, you know. And you know, just to give you one example, because I always listen, you know, blessed are those, you know, from the Sermon on the Mount, right? Blessed are those who are poor of spirit. I was always like, the fuck does that mean? Poor of spirit. What are you talking? I really couldn't put my hands around it, right? Fucking Jordan B. Peterson in the first episode on Exodus, he goes like, those who were humbled enough to be brought low enough to be able to receive. And I went like, to be brought low enough to be able to receive, you know. And then you start connecting those who have ears, let them hear. You know, and then coincidentally, next day I fucking downloaded some Russian hip hop music from fucking Apple Music, right? And in one song he goes like, "You'll never find heaven if you're looking up." And then I read the quote from the guy who talks about Carl Jung, one of the philosophers from the early 20th century, who Jordan B. Peterson holds in very high regard. And Carl Jung, he goes like, people cannot find heaven or, you know, that entity because they don't look low enough. Now, and you start fucking connected, and then you start connecting with some Greek philosophers and you know, and Socrates and, you know, and Plato and people like that, and you fucking go like, there's fucking overarching theme here. You know, it really is.
All through history.
Throughout history. You know,
and
I go
cultures,
like,
yeah.
I'm a student of history, you know, and then another fucking wise man, I forgot who said that, because if I would give credit to his name, but he said, well, history can be studied from 3 distinct vantage points. He goes, well, writers of history generally are winners. He goes, but if you study the history, he goes, you can study the history, which most people do, from the vantage point of a victim of the history. Jews, Native Americans, black, you name it, whites, and some, you know what I mean, whatever, whoever declares themselves a fucking victim, right? Then you can go like a little bit more objective way is as an observer of history. You stand outside of events, right? But then you're really just reading what the victors wrote, right? And he goes, the hardest one, he goes, try to study history from the vantage point of a perpetrator of history. Try to look at the history through the eyes of Hitler. You know, if you look at the history of, let's say, fucking gulags in Russia, try to see it through the eyes of Joseph Stalin. You're going to learn some motherfucking lessons about history like you wouldn't believe. You know, so when I heard that, and I'm like, man, there's so much to learn just, you know, yeah, there's things to learn with the gun, with the fist, with the elbow and all that stuff. But I'm like, this is deeper. This is more important. You know, because it's, if we learn this stuff, is going to determine how we shape our own kids. That's after shit that's probably going to happen in our lifetime. they're going to be left to rebuild. And if we don't teach them right, man, they're going to rebuild a hell that's darker than what we're looking at now. And that's not good. Then we will have a second coming. That's going to be the day of the Lord. And, you know, maybe it's time. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, yeah, I know it's kind of weird. I went all biblical and you. I apologize for that, but
Yeah.
I
Not
really don't
necessarily.
apologize, man. It's to me, I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not gonna worry that it may erode, you know, a certain percentage of my customer base or whatnot.
No, I think you
I don't
should.
care
I
about
think
it.
that you should never even speak those words again. The worry about my customer base.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Come on. What's your shirt say? 0 fucks given.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck them.
SonnyPuzikas.com.
What you're going to find is for every one you lose, you gain 5 more because people are hungry and they need something to belong to and they need something of value to belong to, right? So if what you say you believe, they're going to they're going to come to you.
I think
they're
you're
not
right.
even going to know why they're coming, but they're going to be pushed to you as well as pulled towards you.
You know what? Because I think in this world, honesty in itself has become valuable fucking commodity.
People are waking up.
Good.
Like it's clear that there is evil, right? And like you said, if there's evil, then
There is
there
good.
can't be good without it. I think people, it's said that when you're just kind of doing your thing and you're in the middle and you're not, you know, seeking the church or reading the Bible or looking for God, then evil doesn't fuck with you as much, right? He just kind of leave you alone. It's when you are on that path that evil really starts testing
Because you
you.
become dangerous to it.
Yes. Yeah.
They know the enemy. They know the fence sitter is fucking nothing.
Right.
The fence sitter is the guy who fucking
Has no idea what's
says,
going on.
My thoughts and prayers with people of Ukraine or Syria or Russia, or you know what I mean? He's nobody. He's nothing. He has no value. He brings no value. He's a parasite. He's a motherfucking fly. He should sit on the pile of shit, and that's actually fly at least digest that stuff and it.
Right. What did they say? 3% fought the Revolutionary War?
Yeah.
3%.
Yeah. So I'm not concerned with those, you know, in the middle people, the fence sitters and all that stuff. I don't give a fuck. But, you know, I want to address people that are ready to jump off the fence and become radicals. Radicals for fucking good. You know, not radicals for some kind of agenda or fucking, or this cause or that motherfucking screaming match or this label against that label. No. Are you doing fucking good for yourself, for people around you, for your loved ones, and by extension for those who surround you?
Can this be fixed without violence? I say it can't.
I say we don't know because we don't know what he's capable of.
Okay. I like that answer better than mine.
And I hope he, in some way, maybe through us, intervenes. Maybe through people like us. Maybe through other people in different countries that have similar views. You know, this is not just in this country, John. This awakening is happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Actually, you'd be surprised how deep that awakening is.
Yeah,
in
they're
Russia.
really throttling it back. I feel like they don't want us to know what's happening.
Like in Russia, this stuff, dude, is full throttle.
Yeah.
People are flooding the churches. People are fucking coming back to fucking traditional family values. People are, you know what I mean? And you can say what you want, you know, from what people see and hear, what's going on with Ukraine war and all that stuff. I'm gonna.
No, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I have no problem discussing that.
there's gonna be more people get.
No, I
married.
think we're on the wrong side of it. I think the United States is not the good guys.
We are no longer force for good.
So I picture all of this like your normal dragon movie, right? Whatever movie you watched medieval, we're out in the fields right now and we're just fucking taking care of our fucking pigs or our cows or whatever, and we're cutting down some fucking wheat, and all of a sudden the bad guys come, right? We've all been to war, we've all been back from war, we just want to raise our kids, we've got a little piece of land, leave us alone, and now the bad guys come and they reawaken those guys, and we go fucking unbury our swords or whatever fucking it is, and now they've woken up. But I just want to be left alone. We all want to be left alone. So I just do my thing, and I really fight with it all the time, right? I get up in the morning and I make these videos, and I'm like, why am I making these fucking videos? I can get 2 more hours of productive shit done in my day that adds to me and my family and my employees by not doing this shit.
This is more productive, John. I'm telling you from my heart, this is more productive than you making more
I'm not.
More backs.
I do not disagree with you, but I fight with it constantly.
He knows it too.
I just want to do my thing, and I don't know anymore what my thing is.
You're doing your thing right here.
I know.
I don't comment much. I listen to your stuff, man. You know, and I not that it matters. Not like I'm a big fucking influencer or Insta famous or whatnot. But I like where this is going, man. I really like where this is going. I think you're on the right fucking mission. I like how it affects people. I like the quality of people that's showing up to your festivals when you do them here and all that stuff. I listen to that stuff. I read about what people say, and I'm like, fuck yeah. Yeah, it's still relatively small in comparison to BLM movement and all that stuff, right? But the fucking density of quality of each person in this is motherfucking worth 500 of them.
The capability.
Yeah.
I need you to know my friend TJ, and he goes by Bear Independent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you will get along with him very well, and you have the same beliefs. And I want you to meet my friend Tag from Life Done Free. And Tag is in Oklahoma, Oklahoma. Bear's in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Fucking just solid dudes, man. And they have their community, and they've got people, and they're building businesses, and they're doing great.
I've seen some of the stuff from
things.
Bear Independent guy.
So I watched a lot of Bear stuff. I had never heard of him, right, until all the COVID shit, right? Mm-hmm. And he was talking about Hegelian dialectic and Iron Mountain and stuff. So a tornado happened right across the border here, and he was like within an hour, and I'm like, come on, pack up, fucking put as much fucking rice in the trucks as we can get. We're going to take our wood processor over there. I want to meet this dude, right? I want to see for myself.
Yeah.
And we spent a few hours up there, and I was very fucking, it was exactly what he said it was, right? And we've been together in the same place. He sat in that chair several times, and he's exactly how he portrays himself on the internet, right? So it's just so rare when you meet dudes that
real dudes,
and it's not even that they fabricated or lie. We will tell a better story than a lie that they'll tell, but you see these guys, and they're not at all what you think they are or what they pretend to be.
It's cosplay.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it's so fucking rare when you actually get around them, and they're better than what you thought they were. And those men, as well as all the men and women, if you see me with somebody more than twice, then that's the reality.
That's our people.
Yeah.
You know
because we move in a different way, right? They can't keep up. They might think they want to be a part of it, but when they get around, they're like, holy shit, I can't even fucking keep up with these guys.
What's the saying? Everyone wants to be a gangster
until it's time to do gangster shit. Right? Yeah.
It's kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I tell people, I'm like, they go like, how do you find time to fucking read about the fucking nutritional values? How you find time to read about shit that's in skincare products? How do you find time to explore the philosophy of violence, and then theology, and then kids, and then this? And I'm like, actually, it's very fucking easy. Turn off your motherfucking TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all have there's something every man has, and that's 24 hours. The difference between men is what they do with the 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop scrolling.
I've never owned a video game.
Yeah. Use the fucking Facebook for useful shit.
Right. That's right.
Find the stuff, use their fucking algorithm to where it throws shit that's important.
It's funny. So I'll be like, Instagram, when you go to the search feature, it just shows you pornography. And Amanda's like, that's weird. Mine doesn't, because, there's a button you can click and you don't see it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like on I laugh, like my feed is fucking, 40% of it is orthodoxy. The rest of it is guns, Russia, and then a couple bands like Tool and a couple Russian bands, and then plants and farming. That's it.
Yeah. I listen to Russian hip hop.
Really?
No bullshit.
Fucking A, man. I have my phone has probably 50.
I wouldn't know any of them, but I actually put in Russian rap in YouTube, and I'll listen to that shit.
Yamagi is awesome. The guy that has this kind of that voice.
Yep.
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
Yeah. I got to pee, so we're going to pause this for a second.
All right.